morning, beloved ones. Turn to someone and tell them, I remember you. Even if it's a stranger, even if you've never seen the person before, I remember you. I remember you. Well, I'm so glad that we are here this morning. You know, I wasn't sure whether I was going to continue with the series that we have been working with entitled, What's in Your Toolkit? Because I was thinking that we pretty much covered some of the overarching topics, like prayer. We talked about prayer and patience and the power of blessing others, love, divine love, being in relationship with others, forgiveness and the power of forgiveness. We talked about some of these things that we know are important to have in our spiritual toolkit. These are major topics. But yet, every so often, there are some seemingly small or insignificant tools that we may not have in the toolkit, but if we do, we end up being glad that we have them, right? Maybe they're not the big things, the hammer and the saw, things that we know we need to have in any good toolkit. But, you know, it might be something small that, wow, I don't have much use for, but when you need it, it's there. It's like that TV commercial. I don't know, I'm into commercials these days, but there was the TV commercial where the young guy, he's a teenager and he's with his friends and they're stuck on the side of the road. They have, I think, a flat tire. And he's on the telephone, he's got a wrench in his hand, and he goes, I know what a lug wrench is, Dad, right? And then he goes to his friends, is this a lug wrench? You know. Now, granted, most of us might not have a lug wrench in our toolkit, right? But if you're stuck on the side of the road and you need to change a tire, you are glad when you have that seemingly insignificant tool in your toolkit, right? Even if you don't need it, when the time comes, if you have it, it's a good thing. So I was thinking, well, what are some of the other qualities of being that we might not think are significant, or they're not the major ones? Prayer and healing capacities, or love, forgiveness, all those things, those major ones. Maybe they don't carry that kind of weight, but that they would be essential to have in our toolkit for when such a time might come where we might need them. To have them is better than to not have them. And I thought, well, what would some of those be like? I thought, well, how about expectations? Might that be a good thing to have in our toolkit? Because we know that in truth, that there is the power and the creative impact that expectations have on manifesting our desires, right? As true students, we know that it's good to have a positive expectation for that which you are seeking to bring into your life and into your experience. And that somehow these positive thoughts, this expectation, they carry energy, a positive energy that penetrates the ethers, penetrates the unseen realm, along perhaps with some faith, some imagination, that would then penetrate the unseen realm and bring that which we desire into visibility, into manifestation. So on that level, expectations, or the ability to expect something good, is a powerful thing, right? Good stuff. Except maybe when dealing with people. More explicitly with people that are connected to us in some way. that we're in some type of relationship to, not just a romantic relationship, but any kind of relationship where we are close to another individual. It could be your boss, your child, or a business partner, but someone that we are connected to. Because whenever we have expectations of people, chances are that we are pretty much going to be what? Disappointed. I see you know that. Chances are we're going to be or experience some level of disappointment when your expectation is placed in or with or upon other people. That's a powerful thing. Because, see, it's hard to meet somebody else's expectations, right? And it's even difficult when the other party doesn't have an idea of what your expectations are, right? So that's hard, and it's hard when we know what the other party's expectations are, but yet we can't still fulfill them all or meet them all. That's hard enough in and of itself. Whether we know it or whether we don't know it, somehow or another, this notion of having expectations when we are in connection and relationship to other people might be challenging. And so how could we look at that? Because everybody has, expectations. You have expectations of me. I might not know what they are, and some of you do make them known. But you have expectations of me as a minister, what a minister should do and should be. Now, I might not know but you have them, you hold them, and you also then what? You will project that expectation out, what? Upon me. And likewise, I have expectations that I might be holding of you, and you might not know what they are that I'm holding. But yet I may be expecting you to meet them. And so this can be problematic. And I'm thinking, how many people are you judging, or do you judge, or do you measure their value against whether or not they meet your expectations? Now, I'm going to say that one again, because, sometimes I write stuff. I write it in the evening on Saturday, but I go over it in the morning. When I read that one, I said, ooh, that's good. Because listen again, how many people are you judging, or do you judge or measure their value to you against whether or not they meet your expectations? Because when they meet your expectations, all is good. We're in harmony. I love you, you love me, yes. Because you're meeting what? My expectation. But yet, do I have those same, am I able to hold those same vibrations and feelings when you do not meet my expectations? Then do I slip into another mode? And so we need to really look at that, because we all carry expectations. And whether or not we should or should not, we need to look into that deeper. Because when we have expectations of others, then we might also have the experience of entering into a suffering state, or having inner conflict, or maybe feeling insignificant because things didn't turn out as you expected, and they didn't do what you expected. There's a wonderful phrase that can be very helpful, and a friend just reminded me of this, because I've been going through some things and I've been holding a certain vibration and wanting things to turn out a certain way. And so my friend told me, you need to manage your expectations. And isn't that powerful? Manage your expectations. And I thought, that is quite true, because I can get all off on what I think should be happening and what I think someone should be doing and how they should be relating to me, treating me, responding to me, whatever. And it's according to what? My wants, my vision, my needs, my dreams, and they may or may not even be tuned into that. And then I end up being what? Disappointed, disheartened. So it's like, well, you need to manage your expectations, a very powerful thought. And then to make sure that I actually got that message the other day, I came across a postcard, and it was from some bank. I'm not sure what they were selling, some service or whatever. But what jumped out to me was the phrase they had on there was, reset your expectations. And I said, okay, God, I you know, because that's how the Lord speaks to me sometimes. He'll send me a postcard, he'll send me a person, he'll send me the phrase until eventually I get the theme. Okay, I got this. Reset your expectations, right? Both of those statements, whether I'm managing, whether we're resetting, whatever, both of them would be very good tools to have in our toolkit. Because to manage your expectations, you might have to be honest. You might have to be honest with yourself, and of course, honest with whomever you are holding accountable or hostage. Because let's be honest, too, sometimes we hold people hostage, right? As to whether or not we think they are meeting or fulfilling our needs, our wants, our desires, and so we kind of play a little bit with our love and with our, good vibes and wishes. You're going to get some if you meet, if not, off with your head. And so when you're managing expectations, that means you got to be honest with yourself. And it means to be clear. You might have to be clear and upfront in your conversations, revealing what you are holding in consciousness and what it is that you want and you need and you desire from the other, and whether or not it's feasible or realistic or even fair. Because most of the time, we very rarely share with others what our desire is for this expression, this connection, this relationship. We don't go out and say, well, here's my list of expectations. We don't, even in marriages or whatever, people don't do that yet. We have them, right? And we hold them. And we hold people accountable to them. Even if they know it or not, doesn't matter, we have them. And so this is about being enlightened. If you want to have something in your spiritual toolkit, part of it is about being enlightened as to what's taking place within you and what you're doing and what your actions are. And so this whole concept of managing your expectation might mean being clear and aware that you even have them. You got to be clear that you have them, right? And I was thinking that sometimes when we're not clear, we find ourselves in conflict. We find ourselves experiencing some level of discomfort because we are holding unconscious expectations. And a clue might be if you find yourself having challenges with another, or some kind of, maybe there's, you're not hitting each other, you're missing each other, not traveling along the same path or journey or in the same book or on the same page, but something is amiss. You might want to use that as a clue to check your expectations. To check your expectations, to check to see if you have unmet needs, unexpressed needs and desires, unexpressed or unacknowledged, unconscious expectations. Well, I would just think that, they would know that this is what I need, this is the right thing to do. And we do that all the time. How would we know? Well, we're married. We've been married for 25 years. It seems to me he would know, she would know. How? You see, so conflict ensues because there isn't clear revelation and understanding. And you might not be clear yourself that you have an expectation. You're experiencing an unmet need or an unacknowledged need. So it's good then to look at the tool that you might want to have in your toolkit might be managing your expectations, because this is the only way that you're going to be able to take responsibility for your part in whatever is occurring. And if you don't recognize that you are holding something unconscious in your mind towards someone or expecting something from them, and you're not even aware of it and they're not aware of it, yet the energy is acting itself out, then you can't heal it. So managing is taking responsibility for your part in whatever is taking place in your experience. It's not a pretty tool, but it's a good one to have in your toolkit, right? Would you not agree? Okay. You all out there, everybody okay? All right, I'm just feeling a little bit of energy out here. I'm thinking this is some good stuff. I was enjoying it. But here's the thing. It's not that we should not have expectations. But this is what it says in Psalms. I want us to remember this from Psalms 62, verse 5. And it says this: "My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him." And then in the Message, that's the modern day Bible, it says this. They put it this way: "God, the one and only, I'll wait as long as he says. Everything I hope comes from him. So why not? Why not wait upon God?" Because everything that I'm hoping for comes from him, right? And the way we define hope in Unity and New Thought, or the way I define it, is a positive what? Expectation of good. A positive expectation of good, and good is synonymous with what? God. So that gives us a clue. I have expectations. But the supreme management of my expectation is when I start with and I rely upon God. I rely upon God to bring me my good. So it doesn't mean that I'm not going to have hope. It doesn't mean that I don't have faith. It doesn't mean that I'm not supposed to trust. It doesn't mean that I'm not supposed to have expectation. It simply means that I place those things upon God. I start there. That's where my expectation comes from. I expect the goodness of God to manifest in my life. I expect the goodness of God to guide me on my journey. I expect God to provide for my needs and my wants and my requests. Not you or you or you or you. But who? God. My expectation is upon God. So we manage our expectations as a spiritual tool to remember whence our expectation comes. So, with that in mind, I think that there's a very similar tool to this whole concept of managing our expectations that we might also want to put in our spiritual toolkit. And this one is being good at practicing the law of non-resistance. The law of non-resistance. Now, this tool really, I think, when we are engaging in life or in relationships or in connections with others or experiences, this is the tool that can really help move us through any turbulent or challenging or potentially conflicting experience, whether with a person or even a situation. Because this tool, perhaps more than any other tool, is the one that can actually usher us into peace of mind. Peace of mind. Because when you practice this particular tool, it says that you are not stuck. You're not stuck in fighting or using your energy to resist whatever is. Instead, you have the energy or the insight or the motivation to take positive action towards what it is that you do want. Resistance is struggling against what you don't want. While non-resistance, right, is moving you towards what you do want. This is a very powerful thing. Resistance is struggling against what is. What is. And non-resistance is acceptance that something is. It is what it is, right? We say that all the time, but then sometimes we don't want what is to be what is. So we begin to struggle against what is, right? But it is. Turn to somebody and tell them, it is what it is. It is what it is. Now this is a very powerful place, because this is where I think some people get confused, because they errantly believe that acceptance of what is equates to doing nothing about it, right? Or agreeing with whatever is, or resigning oneself to the thought that you have no power to change what is, when non-resistance simply means that you do not fight, or you do not waste your time wishing something wasn't. It is what it is. You don't waste your time struggling with the what is. You use your energy into what can it be? What can I do? Where can I move? How can I transform and change? That's where your energy goes. What is it that you wanted to do and to be now? What you want to do and be now. Not, oh, why did they say that? Who knows they said it? Oh, they shouldn't have done that. They did it. The question is now, what are you going to do? What do you want to do, right? You've got to understand your position, yourself, in the midst of anything that is manifested. Don't fight that it's manifested. Transform it. And you can't transform it while you're fighting against it. It doesn't work. You're wasting your energy. I read a tweet this morning when I got up. It was a tweet on my phone, and I thought it was so apropos. This is how Spirit works. Spirit gives me tweets and things and whatever. I've already written my talk, but this is what came up from a tweet that I read. And it said, accept and embrace this moment, because this moment is accurate. Accepting the present situation doesn't mean you cannot change it, but it means you don't waste your energy in resisting it, but rather use it to transform it. And I had already written, I'm like, oh, okay, God. So when that happens, God, somebody needs to hear this out there, okay? Because when I opened up my phone and there's a tweet, and that's the tweet, that's how God communicates with me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, okay. Like it gave me reset your expectations. I'm like, okay, I get it. I hear it. Now it's saying, embrace and accept this moment, because this moment is accurate. Why is it accurate? Because it is. It happened. It's there, right? It's accurate. Doesn't mean that it's where you want to be and where you want to stay and what you want to have, but it happened. It's accurate. So accept it, embrace it, and then move beyond it. Move through it, around it, whatever you have to do to transform it, so that your energy is used in a conscious way. You're not wasting it crying over spilt milk. You're not wasting it beating yourself up. You're not wasting it tearing the other person down. Or you're not wasting it, but you are using your energy in a divinely right way. So having this tool of non-resistance in your toolkit will free you up. It frees up your energy field, and it offers you the ability to become a conscious transformer of your life. I'm a conscious transformer of my life, because I use my energy wisely to create my life, to direct my life, to go where I would like to go and want to go, to use it on that which is what for my highest good. And since we are putting a little bit of this and a little bit of that in our toolkit this morning, if we have non-resistance in there, I'm thinking we should probably have its companion also. And what do you think? I thought, well, okay, we've got what do you think might be a companion to non-resistance? Acceptance, yes, that's a part of non-resistance. Discernment. Oh. All right, Tracy, I see you back up there. Yeah, and coupled with discernment is the law of non-judgmentalness. Non-judgmentalness. Now, quite simply, that is the tool of using your power of discernment. Discernment about what is right for you, and not as a means to place judgment upon someone else. This is a very powerful thing, and I admit that this tool is not very sexy. It's not really a tool. It's not an easy tool to have in our toolkit. However, if we're going to try to put tools in there that help to keep us open and receptive and clear channels, right, so that God's good can flow to us and through us, if we're trying to keep ourselves clear, if we're trying to have tools that enable us that we could apply them in our lives, that make our lives move in a more peaceful and harmonious fashion, where we can receive all of God's goodness and not as a means to box ourselves in, then this tool might be good for us to have. Jesus said it this way. He said, "Judge not according to appearance, but judge" what? "By righteous judgment." Non-judgmentalness. So what is righteous judgment then? If I'm not to have, to judge by appearances, but I have to judge by righteous judgment. And righteous judgment is simply this. It is the ability to judge or to assess a situation based on spiritual principles and spiritual laws. It is based on looking for the good or God in all things. Or it is also taking in the highest view possible. And then once you take in the highest view, the highest perspective, and I loved it when you talked about that this morning. That's why I know, God's all up in this message, because he's still directing it, right? Because Richard mentioned when our viewpoint is high and different, our experience might be changed. Righteous judgment is all of those things. It is judging based on spiritual law, judging based on spiritual principles, judging based on a higher perspective, looking for the good or looking for God, or judging the God essence in this situation, and then using spiritual laws rightly, using them rightly. Because you see, when you can take the highest view possible, and one that's based on spiritual truths, then what happens is it affords you the highest choice possible. And when you can make the highest choice possible, you'll take the highest action possible. And when you take the highest action possible, it will lead you to the best and the highest outcome for that situation at that time. You see, one that's not limited in scope, not limited or narrowly seen through the lens or the appearance, which may or may not be true, but the highest one. I was sitting there this morning as I was going over the talk, and I said, when you take your two fists and you look through, and and you do that, I can see right now when I do that, I see three people. I see Garrett. I see Juana, I see Joan. Oh, there's Trudy. That's about it. Now, when I open up a little bit more, wait a minute. Okay, Amita. Okay, there's Barbara. Oh, Daryl. Wait a minute. Oh, Betty. Brenda. Oh, wait. I'm looking over there, but wait a minute. Some people over here. Oh, there's Carolyn. Oh, wait. Oh, Stephanie. Oh, my goodness, Marie. Woo! Wait, Marie Carmen, all the way in the back. Oh, my goodness, there are people up in the balcony. Deborah, okay, I see you. You understand? When we have a narrow scope through which we are looking at the world and we judge the world by what we think we are seeing, we are off base. You're not making the highest choice. If I think the world is only contained with those three people I can see, and I make my decision based on that, my experience is going to be limited. right? But when I take off the blinders, when I take off the narrow perspective of which I'm holding, and I'm not looking at the appearance, the outer realm, but I'm beginning to see that which I cannot see with my physical eyes, but I begin to see with my spiritual eyes, and I begin to allow the Spirit of God to bring to me higher understandings, greater revelations, right? Deeper insights, that I begin to discern something that's much broader than what I can only see by appearance. That's a tool to have in your toolbox, in your toolkit. So we don't want to look at life through our narrow lens, but we want to open ourselves up by beginning to ask, what may be possible? What else is possible here? What else can this be about? What is this for me to see about myself? What is the highest and the best decision I could make at this point in time? And it might mean that you might have to move away from people, places, and things. That's okay. That's okay if that's the highest and best decision for you. But as long as it is based on righteous judgment, right use of your judgment faculty, of your discerning faculty, it's the right decision for you. It is the right decision. And so we begin to take in God. We look to God for divine guidance, and we begin to go within, not in the without. We don't start with the appearance of things first. We go within, and we begin to have righteous judgment. Righteous judgment. And when you go within, it is the presence and power of God within you that is true. So when you find yourself wanting to judge by appearances, or to judge what has manifested, or to judge what has shown up, or to judge how people are doing or acting, or what life has presented to you, that is your clue to go into your spiritual toolkit and to begin practice going beyond the appearances to seek the truth through non-judgmentalness, but through spiritual discernment. Truth with a big T. Truth that speaks to the unchanging aspect of God. Truth that is of God. In fact, God is the highest and greatest tool that you can have in your toolkit. And that's the nutshell, right? God is the greatest tool that we can have in our toolkit. So seek ye first the kingdom of God, and what? All of these things will be added unto you. So I ask you, what's in your toolkit? And I hope and pray that it's God. And if it is, remember, don't leave home without it. Namaste and blessings. Namaste, blessings. Blessings.